like outlive all of us.
My husband is 30, and they had a pair of cats that he got when he was 9. One of them died about a year and a half ago, and the other one is still alive. So
Damn.
it is
That happened to my. I'll say that
the
happened to my
oldest
friend.
cat
She
ever.
had a cat that I think died at 25. Like I was in college with her when the cat died, and it was like she knew this cat her whole life. I mean, 25 is old. Shit.
Yeah.
Quarter of a century.
I only had a cat growing up. We don't have pets right now. We had a dog, but we don't have it anymore.
Can we talk about cats instead of beer?
No, man. We're talking about
No.
beer. This is a beer
That
Call,
was
we
podcast.
can call
the
this
cat talk
Meow
I
Me
have.
3?
Okay.
Meow Me 3.
Here you go. Here's your beer song for the night. I'm gonna pour my beer.
Hit a
Got my other beer.
hit a possum whip and got a beer.
Tore my bumper up, I said, Tar, you can't steer,
Well,
damn
at
it.
least I didn't hit another deer.
But I told you watch a road and you didn't even hear, damn
I
it.
hit a possum whip and got a beer.
Tore my bumper up, I said, Tar, you can't steer, damn
Well,
it.
at least I didn't hit another deer.
But I told you watch a road and you didn't even hear, damn it. I just paid my truck off last month.
How do you like that song?
Is that in honor of Rick in Florida?
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh
That
man,
makes sense to me.
I love Florida, but yeah, there's some weird shit that happens here.
Hey, you're like in Central Florida, right?
I'm Jacksonville. I'm North Florida.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I know somebody in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville. It's nice. You got the beach right here, and the river's here, and it's
Where's
actually
Universal Studios? Is that next to you?
Yeah, it's right down the road.
Orlando.
Not, yeah, it's like
You live
3
right
hours
next to
away.
Universal Studios?
He,
No?
he looks outside and he sees the Terminator and the
Dang.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, no, that's West Orlando.
Look out.
Kissimmee.
Okay.
I see you still live 8 hours from Universal Studios. How about Disney World?
I'm about 2.5 hours from both of those.
Oh, 2? Dang.
2.5. Yeah, I was just there on Saturday, so yes, 2.5.
What?
I drove
Oh,
it.
do you get
Nope.
Do you get a season pass?
I actually still have a Disney seasonal pass. I bought it the day before I got laid off from my last job in Orlando, sadly, and I had a Universal annual pass before that.
That's pretty sweet, man.
It's quite an affordable way to have entertainment.
Is Disney World better than Six Flags?
Yes.
Of course.
Fiesta Texas?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
saying, like, is a lollipop better than syphilis?
I don't know. Depends on what the lollipop is. I mean, is
That's
a
a strong
lollipop
claim. What if the lollipop is Ebola?
or cyanide?
Or syphilis flavored? I don't know.
Or, yeah, syphilis flavored. That's true.
Which?
The song's funny, dude.
Bumper up, I said, Tar, you can't steer,
Well,
damn it.
at least I didn't hit another deer.
But I told you watch a road.
I feel like
I was gonna say, so in spirit of this podcast, when I was in Disney on Saturday, I had Chimay Blue, so I went with the Abbey Ale.
Chimay Blue. I didn't know what. Is it Chimay or Chimay? You
I
correct
say
me.
Chimay, I don't know.
I say shimmy.
I think Chimay sounds more, honky.
Well, that goes back to my argument about because my wife's from Chicago, and I say Chicago, but she says Chicago.
Whoa,
So we
you
always
say
go back and forth.
Chicago? You say Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago. Because
You know
I say
he pronounces things funny, right?
no, because I say
I know, but there's a new
I
level
relate it
every
to other
week.
words like chicken. I don't say chicken. I think chicken sounds weird. But you say chicken. You know, I've talked about this before. And
You don't
I
like
say
chicken? What's wrong with you?
chicken or chimay sounds weird. I always want to say chimay.
Well, whatever you say, people are going to know, and that actually does bring up an interesting point, which we can talk about during the podcast, between the pronunciations of doubles and triples. So,
And
I
then
asked
we kind
someone
of said
also
that too.
about that this week.
Dubels and tripels, right? I
well,
think that's
okay, well that's the debate. Is it double or double, and is it tripel or triple?
What's a
People
single?
really-
I think it depends on the spelling.
Is it single?
No, there is no single that people really know of. That's kind of like a mystery.
So I'm
It's like
drinking
the
a
house ale.
Dubel. I'm drinking the Belgian Abbey Ale Prior.
Oh, I gotta go get my beer.
Wait, where's
Number
the
8?
image? Oh, yeah, dude.
It's the red one.
St. Bernardus is awesome.
It is, and it has incredible history behind it. By the way, we'll get into that later. But
ABC 12, the 12. is really good. The
Yeah,
one you were
well,
looking for.
12 is like the one that all the rave is about. When I went to Specs where I get my beer, they had this one. They had the green one, which I believe is the 8. No, the 10.
No, you're thinking of Trappist at that point.
There
Rockford.
is this same label.
No, the St. Bernardus has the numbers. There's like a 12, a 10, maybe?
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're numbered.
Yeah, the
I took
the
a picture
10
today.
they had the 10. Now the one that they always rave about is the 12. That
The blue one.
close to. And what's cool about that is that it reflects this. The history relates it to another beer that's actually considered a Trappist. They follow the same recipe, but they have different ingredients in terms of.
Would it be Westy 12?
That sounds a lot like it. Yeah, because the actual name of it's like Westerliden or something like that. I don't know.
It is
Yeah.
Trappist Westerveterlin 12, and I
Yes,
horribly
yes.
killed that name.
No. Yeah, I can't
I
say
heard
it either.
people call it
Obviously.
Westy 12 too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
so-
Everyone abbreviates Westy 12, and it's honestly considered probably the best beer in the world. It is
Okay.
highly
Really?
renowned, and
Yeah.
I don't know how
So-
deep are we getting into this. I see the little live button. Is this live? Are we talking? Are we doing this shit? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
man, we're live. We're live right now.
He played the
Okay, I wasn't
music.
sure. The people,
got the jazz
people.
playing.
I needed to make sure the people are, they get what they expect. That's all. I just,
They get their money's worth. They get their money's worth.
This
But-
is for the people. America, this is for you.
Okay, so since we're in this right now, Westy 12 and St. Bernardus 12 they've done blind studies where they serve them both, and people have trouble differentiating between the two. And some of the history comes from that. Is back in 1945 with World War II, the monks didn't want to commercialize, and they felt like they were focusing too much on brewing St. Bernardus 12. Or it wasn't called St. Bernardus 12, it was actually referred to as Westy 12. It was considered the Trappist. And so they commercialized it to the Watau Brewery, which was a cheese factory at that time. And it got converted during World War II. It served as a refuge for St. Bernard. Or St. Bernard's Refuge for World War II, and that's where you get this guy, the St. Bernard guy, on the front. And then converted the cheese factory into a brewery. The monks show the guys how to brew the beer, and then you have them brewing basically a Trappist all the way up till 1992, when they decide that if it's going to be called a Trappist, it can only be manufactured within the walls of a monastery. So that's where you get the differentiation between the labels. But St. Bernardus decided to continue brewing their beer, and you still have Westy 12. And so they're following the same recipe. They just use different yeast because it's almost like they have a proprietary yeast strain
Oh yeah,
for
it's
Trappist.
all about the house yeast, man.
And then they're using different water. So you should have a subtle difference in taste, but that goes into the palate. Some people can tell the difference, some people can't. But overall, that's why you have St. Bernardus 12, that's highly regarded as this like really good beer, and then you have Westy 12, which is also considered like one of the best beers.
Yeah. Well, I won't lie, man. If you can't really tell them apart, you're wasting your money going for that Westy, because I mean, I don't know about you, but you can find ABT 12 pretty easily in Florida. If you just go to any generic decent beer store, you can find it.
Mhm.
And I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's what, $12 for a big bottle, like a 750. Like that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it
Whereas
was
Westy
$9.
12, it's like a reserve. You gotta like
Yeah, the li-
special order it.
For 9.4 ounces, it was $10, but
Yeah,
they were
not bad.
out, like I said. Now,
Yeah,
right next
I
to
know.
it, they had a oak barrel aged for like $30.
Yeah,
And it
we
was-
just got the 12 too. That was oak barrel aged, and I've been sitting on the fence with that, man. It sounds good.
It looked really good, and I when we were at the beer store, I looked at my wife and I was like, "Can I get it?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're not spending $30 on one beer." I was like, "Come on, let's do
Yeah.
this."
I've done it though, and I've bought and it's one of those things where Westy 12 or no, I'm sorry, St. Bernardus 12 is one of those beers where I feel like spending $30 is a safe bet. I've spent a lot of money on beers, and sometimes you buy one and you go, "Wow, that was not worth it," but the base beer is so good as it is. The reviews for the oak aged one are really high. I feel like it would be a safe bet.
What are you drinking right now?
So I'm doing the Trappist Rockford 8.
Nice. Okay.
With number 10 on standby as soon as I finish my glass, because I'm going cray-cray tonight.
What do the numbers differentiate?
Basically, just it's increasing in strength from as far as I can tell. I've never had it before, and like I was telling you through text this week, you know, Belgian styles, Abbey ales, Trappist beers, they're not something I've been super into. I've liked quads and some barrel aged ones, but honestly, I'd say the past month has been me really, really diving into them. Like I haven't had Chimay Blue until literally a month ago, and then this whole month, if I'm buying a special beer, it's generally been an Abbey ale. Now I've done these. I've done Chimay Blue. I've done oh man, I've done like 2 or 3 other ones as well. I'm losing them on top of my head, and honestly, I'm at a disadvantage because normally I know a little bit more about the styles I'm drinking, and right now I'm kind of a noob about it. But it's exciting because it's always fun to find a new style to get into.
Yeah, well, we covered what was it? 3 philosophers.
Yeah, it's a good American style version. You know, Omegang does a good quad.
Yeah, that was a really good beer. And then when I was reading about these, so that was a quadruple, however you want to call it. And this is a double Dubel. Go back to the how you say that word, because double is Dubbel or Dubel.
Oh, yeah.
I always want to say Dubel. I don't know enough about like Latin prefixes, suffixes, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we should also just get into the different styles, obviously. So there's doubles, triples, quads, and that always raises the question of what about a single, which was kind of brought up earlier, and it kind of all goes back to the fact that when they were, the monks were brewing beers, they had generally a more generic house beer, if you will, quote unquote. From what I've read, it's that seems like that would have been considered the single, and then more of a double strength, triple strength, and quadruple strength. And granted, they're not 3 times as stronger, 4 times as stronger. They're just a little stronger. So it's not quite it's a misnomer in some ways, but it still exemplifies that they are stronger. Double and quad are a little darker. The house beer and the triple would be a little lighter.
So in terms, you said you have an 8 and a 10. Does that mean
there was a 6 as well?
Octuple? And
I don't know what the numbers technically mean, but technically I know the 10 is supposed to be considered a quad, and the 8 was a Belgian strong dark ale. But
Teresa, what are you drinking?
Right now I'm drinking the Chimay Blue, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
I also got the Rochefort 10.
Nice.
Whatever it's called.
Thank you.
But yeah, I got that one as well. When I was looking that up, they said that all the ingredients are the same between the 3. This website I found it on was not particularly well written. It's like a Belgian tourist website, whatever.
Written in Belgianese.
But it was saying something about all the ingredients are the same across those 3, but that they take the yeast, they retrieve it from the 6 and 8 brews, and I guess use it for the re-fermentation process.
Interesting.
Again, there was a little lost in translation there, because I was like, well, wait, what do you brew the 6 and 8 with? But, yeah.
Okay. I had a coworker ask me if I like Chimay. And I was, in my mind, I was going to Alambic. I thought he was talking about Alambic, and the only other time we talked about Alambic was the cherry ale.
You're not so far off.
Okay. And so when he was like, "Do you like Chimay?" I was like, "Nah, I'm not really into that," because I was thinking back to the quadruple that we drank and that they used, the quadruple. 3 philosophers, whatever. This beer is really good with these blueberries I'm eating. Has a nice little dark color. I get what are your aromas? Mine's like really fruity. I'm getting hits of just fruitiness. It reminds me of the wine I used to get while receiving the Eucharist at church. That's how this smells. But if I smell it long enough, right? It actually I got a Dubel, and it smells a lot like also maybe fresh sourdough. That's also the smell.
Yeah, that would be the yeast. I mean, it's definitely yeasty. Banana, cloves, definitely dark fruit. I'd say is the darker the beer gets, especially a quad, it definitely gets more dark fruit like plums, raisins.
Nice.
especially as it warms. But yeah, definitely yeasty.
Yeah,
I mean, I
this
definitely have
has
chunks
been-
of yeast in mine.
Okay. Now we've talked about that before. Do you ever get the yeast bite?
I mean, maybe I do, but it's not something like I've had very noticeably. There's been some beers where, when you're at the bottom of the glass, it's so yeasty, you just pour it out because it's not worth drinking. So I'm sure if I drank that, maybe I'd get that yeast bite, but it's not something I'm
Sure.
100% familiar with.
Huh. Okay. Cool, man.
But
How
I
does
know I've
it-
heard some people have, they've actually taken, Belgian-style Abbey ales, and because there are live yeast in it, they've actually successfully recultured them, and then basically had,
that's
ABTs
interesting.
or Roquefort's house yeast cultured for their own use.
So it goes into like a dormant stage or something like that. Maybe yeast are really resilient. Obviously. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you just gotta kind of like put them on. Maybe I don't know how they're doing it. They're recovering them somehow. I know they have recovery medias out there that are
yeah.
good for slowly nurturing bacteria and yeast back up, so they can do their thing.
Man, I haven't remember the good days of culturing bacteria. I don't think I grew any yeast, but definitely a lot of bacteria. I've grown a lot of bacteria in my life.
Yeah. I've done yeast with the yeast 2 hybrid experiments.
Hmm.
So not too much, just enough I'd occasionally do it.
Cool, man. How does Teresa? How does your the chimay? How does it smell?
When I first poured it, it was definitely very yeasty on top. I did a horrible job of pouring it and had way too much head on it, but it was really yeasty. Now that it's warmed up a little bit, it's got kind of like Rick was saying, that dark fruit kind of taste, like
Mm-hmm.
raisins. And then there's some kind of finish to it that I'm trying to identify. It's really smooth. Has a good mouthfeel.
Ooh, nice
kinda-
use of that food science SAT phrase of mouthfeel.
I'm learning things and stuff.
Yeah, I always love it when no one knows what that word is and you drop mouthfeel around people and they just look at you like, that was a really weird thing to say.
I was actually at my friend works at the liquor store. I went to go get this, and I heard her talking to someone else in the beer section about quaffable. Is that the right?
So
I'm
quaffable
not
is
sure what
another
that
word for
means.
drinkable. It means drinkable.
That's the only time I've
session.
ever heard that word used is when Rick used it, like in episode 1. And he was like, quaffable.
I had to use it just as an
Oh.
example of the beer scene. I'm sure someone more high and mighty than myself could tell you why it's better of a word than the word drinkable. But honestly, from my interpretation, it literally means drinkable. How easy is it to drink? How easy does it go down?
Oh
What
man,
about the word
I'm sure-
sessionable? Have you heard that
I gotta go
used?
pee real quick.
Which
Oh.
word?
Fearless leader has left us.
Oh man. Meanwhile, we haven't heard from Russell. I think he might have fallen into a volcano.
Yep.
So did you
Oh
have
my
the
God,
Rochefort
trying to
10
get on
yet,
to
or
action.
are you waiting on that?
No, it's my next one.
Okay, because I'm pouring mine
I
now
watched.
and it's looking good.
Oh, what is it? Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I just poured my Rochefort 10 myself right now. That's
I'm
good.
getting there.
I'm very curious about it. It's definitely darker, I'll say that. The 8 was a little lighter in color.
Yeah. This Chimay one is a little darker than I thought. Oh, I also don't have a lot of lighting over here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a quad, and Belgian quads are definitely dark. I mean, dark brown, dark prunish colors. Which that's a good thing in my book.
Yeah.
Quads are the thing that kind of started getting me into Belgians, and especially if it was like oak aged or bourbon barrel aged, so it kind of smooths out the flavors and blends it with something I'm a little more familiar with from like barrel aged stouts. And that slowly started getting me into them, and that's for the longest time. That's all I liked, and then like I said, this probably past month, I've just been blowing up with these.
Yeah. I mean, my first experience with the Belgian was like New Belgian beers, the Tripels, and it's like, yeah, this is awful. That was also very early on in my beer drinking days. But
Wow.
we have a restaurant here that's got a good beer and liquor selection, and they've never really steered me wrong. And they're like, well, try this Belgian out, or they'll tell you whatever good beers they've got on tap. And I was like, oh, maybe
Very
I
cool.
like a Belgian style beer.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of what makes a Belgian is the yeast. They definitely use a different strain of yeast. Definitely gives it more banana and cloves and fruity flavors. And It can be off-putting if you're not used to it or expecting it.
This beer is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Basically, yeah, these beers are the Gwen Stefani of the beer world.
I need more beer drinking friends that are local because America on Tap was this weekend. I had nobody to go with. It was very
I would have
sad.
gone with you. I have no friends in Jacksonville.
We need more friends. We podcast because we have no friends.
This is the social event of my month. I do it twice a month, and it's how I do stuff.
It's like
You are
just the right amount.
Yep, my imaginary internet friends.
There we go. I'm looking up at this whiteboard, and Laura listed 4 names for our baby, which is supposed to come like in the next week. Like I have all this baby stuff in my house.
Is it Miguel Jr., Miguel Jr., Miguel Jr., and Miguel Jr.?
No, it's Julian.
What was it Galileo?
Well, Galileo's going to be the middle name. She was like, you can have the middle name. I was like, oh, thanks. That's what I'm going to call him
Okay,
anyways.
not to interrupt you, but that was bold of her to do that. I've only known you for bits and pieces of my life, which has been, like once a few years ago and now through this podcast. That's flipping bold, though.
So
I don't know if I would trust you with a middle name.
Her name picks are Julian, Maximiliano, Maxwell, and Costello. I'm a fan of Costello. I don't know about these other ones.
Yeah, it's different, but still a real name.
Yeah,
I like the Julian and the Max one.
I do
The
like
Max, you
Julian
can
and
shorten it,
Maximiliano's one.
make it cool. But Maximiliano sets him up for like
call him
having
Millie.
an awesome life.
Yeah, I'd call him one of those. I don't know. The thing is, my Mexican family wants me to call him like something really Mexican. Something like Hector or I don't know.
Burrito?
Burrito.
Burrito
Nacho.
days.
Burrito days.
Burrito days. That'd be amazing.
That sounds
What's
like
up,
a
burrito?
great place to go have dinner.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna put that in my
Make that happen.
idea journal.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Where
we're
do you guys
gonna
want
call
to
it.
go? Let's go to Burrito Days. Then we hit up Taco Nights.
I made the mistake of putting a voting poll online and then letting Randall know about it, and he just kind of went to town with some names I probably shouldn't say on air. So, yeah, you know Randall,
Dick Cheney Jr.
something like that. Yeah. So I have this book I found from Half Price Bookstore, and I mentioned it before. It's by Michael Jackson, and little
Hey,
backstory.
Michael Jackson?
It says Michael Jackson on it, but I was out Ubering, and I got someone decided to buy me Whataburger. I was like, oh, that's nice of you. They're like, hey, do you want to come up to our apartment and eat it? It was like 5 people, all shoved in my Honda Civic. And I was like, yeah, I have nothing to do. It's like already 2:30 in the morning, so I go to their apartment, and I see another book, and it was about whiskeys, and it said Michael Jackson on it. I was like, hey, I've seen that author before, so I thought that was kind of cool. The Ubering the whole has nothing to do with it, but
Too funny.
the fact that I saw that author somewhere else, and in it it has these different definitions of beers and stuff like that. So for Trappist or Trappiste, whatever you want to say it, or we're in the business of trying to make new names and words. So the Trappiste is the order of monks that have now. This book it says 5 breweries. Last time I checked, it's 10 breweries now. I forgot where they're at. I know there's one in the U.S.
See, I read 8. Oh, okay,
Okay.
but this one doesn't list the U.S. one because
Yeah, there's one in the U.S.
Oh, hold
Yeah,
on.
there's-
Oh, I got a link.
And then it says, by law, only they are entitled to use the term Trappiste in describing their products.
Yeah.
Each
Oh,
of
the
them
U.S. one
produces-
was St. Joseph Abbey. There we go.
Okay, St. Joseph Abbey. Yeah, so they can describe it. I mean, they've been licensed. So I wonder if they still call it an Abbey Ale then. But anyways, they're the only ones that can use like that term. Each of them produces strong 6 to 9% by volume, top fermenting brews, characteristically employing candy sugar. And that candy sugar, since Abbey Ales use the same recipe, especially like St. Bernardus, that's that sweetness that you're smelling and stuff like that. And that's why, for me, it smells like a wine almost. Top fermenting brews, characteristically enjoying candy sugar in the kettle, and always bottle condition. Color varies from bronze to deep brown, which mine is like a couch cover brown. That's what mine is. That's how I discover it. because
Don't couches have a wide range to them?
well, my couch has a cover that looks exactly like the color of this beer, so that's how I describe it.
I have a gray couch behind me, and I don't know if I want to drink a gray beer, so...
Yeah, but you don't have a couch cover. Look, that's my
Yo,
couch
man,
cover.
I live young and dangerously, man.
That's my couch cover right there.
Why have a couch cover?
And look at it. Look at my poor quality camera and compare it to. You can't.
It looks
That's part of the
exactly
joke.
like it. I can't tell the difference.
Because it just gets all dark and everything looks the same.
It's all dark. All dark.
So
We can see
it
the
talks
stairs,
about
though.
bottle condition, and reading the back of the bottle of the Raioa 8 of the St. Bernardus bottle, it says the result is a naturally carbonated living beer which can be aged for up to 10 years and will satisfy the taste of even the most discriminating beer connoisseurs. So I could age this now. Do you have any bottles that are aging right now? Of Abbey's.
One. Cigar City in Tampa Bay. It's a Belgian-style quad with spices aged in rum barrels.
Nice. I could see
And
myself.
I've had it twice now, and it is phenomenal. If you could imagine, if you could take all of Christmas and just shove it into a bottle as hard as you could, it's that beer. It is that beer.
Man.
It is
Christmas
it's
all at once.
sweet with lots of spices, and it is absolutely amazing.
Look,
So,
legit,
this last
tell me
bottle
what
I'm
that beer is again, because I need that.
It's
in
called
my life.
Forgotten Island.
Teresa, you look like someone that looks like that. It thoroughly enjoys Christmas.
Sadly enough, though,
I
it was
do.
a one-time thing, so you'd have to trade pretty. You know, it was probably it's 2 years old now at this point.
Nice.
So it'd be,
It's
you'd
not
have
like
to
a
trade.
seasonal thing.
No, it was part of their barrel-aged
It
beer
might make a
club
comeback.
called the Category
Ah.
Club, and it was in their first round of it. That was one of the beers. It was actually the first one in their club. I've still got one, and I don't know if any of my friends still have any. It was good, but I'm sad. Like I wish it was seasonal because I would drink the hell out of it.
I would.
Now,
You,
when
raised
age-
my hopes up right up here, and then just crushed all my dreams.
Yeah, like
like
Bill
that.
Murray in the Ghostbusters scene with the whatchamacallit.
How do you feel about the remake Ghostbusters that they're doing?
Bleh.
You excited about that? Meh.
I'll try anything once.
That's
Yeah.
what she said.
Yeah. Hey, even anal, man.
Or he said. It's weird.
We'll see. Yeah.
Anyways, no, nothing. What was I saying? I was talking about this, and then we went into that. Oh, so when I get a house, I think I'll buy some beers that'll. I'd like to condition it. I mean, holding this around in this apartment for 10 years, it just takes up space. When you're conditioning your bottles, do they necessarily have to be in a refrigerator?
No, you want cellar conditions, which are I think 50-ish degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
I want to say under
Wait.
55.
That sounds like a basement, right?
Yeah,
Is it-
like well, think about having like a stone cave under your house. That's where you would age it.
They don't have
so-
basements in Texas.
Well,
Trust me,
because I'm
I'm
thinking-
in Florida. I'm in the same situation. It's my
Yeah.
AC sets at 75 right now. My beer is not in the best condition, so I'm not going to sit on stuff for 10 years. But up to 5 years shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah. This thing says 10 years. I did not know that. Anyways, so yeah.
It's not like it might get better. It might just get different. So
Now this goes back to the definition of Trappist. This is the last part of it. In their daily life, the monks will drink their least strong product, which I think I read it was around 2%, and refer to their more potent variations for religious holidays and commercial sale as double and triple, and the latter is usually palest in color. So as you go up, it gets more paler. It gets paler. Paler.
Wow, quad is dark.
That doesn't work.
Look at this. Look at this. That's raisin. That's raisin right there, yo.
Okay. Yeah, and so especially when they refer to doubles and triples, obviously, I mean now quadruples and it just goes up and up and there's different variations and blah blah blah. Mine's pretty dark and I can't see through it. What is yours again? You said
Mine's a quad. I'm on the
Okay.
Rochefort 10 and it's technically considered a quadruple
okay.
from what I've read, and it's incredibly dark and incredibly good. And I won't lie. So this is something I've noticed this with most of the Belgians I've had too now. They are, to bring up the word we just talked about, they're very quaffable. Not just that they're easy to drink, but it's because they hide the alcohol. First beer I had was 9.2%. This one is 11.3. There is no burn on it. It is just sweet with some spice and some dark fruit. It just goes down so easy. I mean, it completely masks that high alcohol.
That's really nice.
Yeah, Teresa, what's the Chimay Blue? Do you have the bottle?
It is. Yeah, I do. I think it's a 9. Yeah, solid 9.
All right, and how is that? I mean, is that the same kind of
Yeah, it's the
situation?
same. Because I knew going in, I was like, well, I've got a 9 and an 11. It's 2 beers. So I gave like my husband a taste. I was like, I probably should take it easy. And I took a drink and I was like, oh, I can't taste that.
No, I know.
It's dangerous.
It is so dangerous, and honestly, it probably goes back to a little bit with the what was it, Miguel? The candy sugar or the
Yeah, it's basically candy sugared in a kettle.
Yeah. So honestly, it probably has a lot to do with that. That sweetness is probably cutting through that alcohol a bit, and then you just don't notice it. Which I at 9.2%, my palate is, I like high strong beers, so I don't really think about it. But once I started drinking this 11.3%, I was shocked at how easy it's going down. Because I've had beers at this percent before where there's almost a burn on your throat, like you feel that alcohol. But this is smooth right here. This is some Ella Fitzgerald jazz right here.
That was actually Louis Armstrong, but I don't want to be that guy. So.
Ella Fitzgerald too, yo.
I was just looking at it.
I've got some records of her. Show yo girl, yo.
Dude, I just got a new record player, and I've been going through my mom's collection of records, and I found all these other ones. So, yeah, I've been going through all those. It's been nice.
I saw you had that. I have a very similar one as well. It's one of those it's one of those black briefcasey kind, right?
Yeah.
Crosley.
It's portable.
I think mine's a Crosley, yeah. Yeah, it's very portable, very awesome. I love it. It's
Polaroid.
great.
Mine's Polaroid. I don't know if that makes it better or not, but it also doubles as a Bluetooth speaker, so I can hook up my phone to it and just use it as a Bluetooth speaker.
Look at you, Mr. Upper middle class.
When I'm at the beach with my records and my record player.
Dude, that would be so hipster if you did that. Took records to the beach. It would also ruin your record player, but hey, that's okay.
It would just ruin everything.
Just little sands.
It's not like sand would ruin something that requires, physical vibration.
Dude, I hate the beach. I can't think of anything worse that I like to do. Every time people come down here, they want to go to the beach, so we go to the beach, and then I spend the next week cleaning out the Montero, because we have to take the Montero. It's the only car big enough to haul everybody. And there is sand everywhere. And I have to... It's a combination of vacuuming and using a Swiffer, because the Swiffer picks up the fine parts that the vacuum can't, and it's in these different crevices. And when I clean things, I'm very meticulous, and it becomes this whole thing. Anyways, sorry.
No, I'm with you too. I mean, I was the biggest beach guy. I was Mr. Surfer Pants, and would spend every day at the beach and then work all night. Then I got a little older and realized, you know what's way better? A flippin' pool, because you have a bathroom and a kitchen right there. Way better. Way better.
Way better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, I was looking at the history of the monks. Like I said, Trappist comes from Trappee. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but Trappe. It's Trap France. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, so it's not actually a Belgian. It originated in France. La Trappe, France.
Yeah. So, originated in the Cistercian. Thank you. Yeah, Cistercian. Cistercian
I'm with you and say we're both butchering it, but that's okay.
Yeah, damn it, Cistercian. Okay, we're done. Anyways.
Caesarean?
Cistercian.
Like the Caesarean section?
Is that how your baby's going to be delivered?
Maybe. No, it's not.
You have a Belgian baby, dude. You gotta have a beer with it.
Don't even get me started on that. My wife's doing the midwife thing. It's not like we're not going to be in a hospital. We're going to be in a house. So I'm very.
Yeah, but is it way cheaper? Because that might be okay.
It is actually way cheaper. It's only $3,000. If you have a baby in a hospital, it's actually around $15,000. But my insurance covered both ways, so that wasn't the reason we picked that. Laura did her research and she chose that, and it's not like I could be like, that's ridiculous. I could be if I wanted to be an asshole, but I was like, you know what? However you want to do it, you go about it, and it offers. The way I see it, I would much prefer a doctor there. I'd like it to be in the hospital and all that, but at the same time, I'd also I see the point that she makes about it being a more intimate moment and stuff like that, where it's not just like we're not being treated as patients, we're having this whole moment to ourselves, blah 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 blah. Anyways, and she doesn't want to do the epidural or any kind of med, so yeah.
Do you want to do the epidural?
I will be taking some beer with me, I guess.
It's on the
'cause
table, man. Do the
Yeah.
drugs.
they have beer there.
Is
That-
it
I can-
is your science brain that wants to go to the hospital? Is that what you think? Like,
No. My science brain did the research itself, and I saw, like, you see the amount of things that happen within a hospital. Because the one thing I get from everybody, there's a couple things, but the main thing I get, everyone's like, "Oh, are you gonna vaccinate your baby?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna still vaccinate her. She's just having it naturally."
How is that an issue? Like,
I don't know. I don't know how it's related. People link
Hey,
it
don't
together.
vaccinate your child, man.
Are you talking like with Jenny McCarthy on these issues? What are you doing?
And the second thing that seems to come up a lot is when we're saying a natural birth, they're like, oh, well, there's, they always bring up like the epidural and also, how would I put just increased the death rates or birth rates. I don't know, baby death rates that occur. There's some things to realize about that is like, how did we have babies before epidurals? Human
just did
the
it.
bodies are designed to have babies. And the thing with having it in a hospital or inducing it or cesarean, there are some complications that come about that because people choose to not eat like they're supposed to, and so the configuration of your body does not allow for natural birth. If Laura was a high-risk pregnancy, or if this baby was a high-risk pregnancy or whatever, we would definitely be in the hospital, but she's followed the rules, she's followed everything that she's supposed to, and so we've maintained it to be low risk. So that's another thing that goes into that. But I don't know.
Is this a beer podcast? I forget.
Do you have documentation to
Yeah, I was
support
like,
the low
we-
risk theory?
I'm gonna have a fucking baby next week.
This was like this was the road, and this was
I
the
did have-
detour.
I did have nightmares that we were gonna miss this podcast or that she's gonna go into labor like now.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it could be.
Oh,
we're supposed to do this because guess what? Beer me 3 for life here. Over like, come on, you're doing this from the hospital, right? If you have to,
I'm
because
gonna be like, Laura, you gotta wait. What are you? You're not 5 minutes at. She's out.
Tower,
Wait,
close
let me
your
finish
letter.
this beer
Close the
before I
letter.
go driving.
Do beer me 3.
Let me finish this beer, and then I'll drive you. Anyways,
Dude, look, I'm looking at your house. There's
God.
plenty of room behind you. You can sit on the stairs.
Oh my god.
We have Beer Me 3 and you live cast it. It's 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean, come
now
on.
Oh man,
Rendell has relentlessly proposed that I live stream the birth to make some money off of it, and
No, that's not okay.
Oh, I
That's
never
not-
said to make money off of it. I just
Yes, you
said
did.
you would
Yes,
be
you
breaking
did.
ground.
damn it, Randall.
Damn it, Russell.
You're the one who has always made a big deal about making it big on the internet.
Dude, Russell, go back to Hawaii.
I'm not trying to make it big on it. The podcast alone allows me to get together with people that I obviously don't have any friends. Just like,
Well, because you don't want to take them to the beach.
no, I fucking hate the beach, man.
Well, you
Doesn't matter.
fucking suck it up and go.
This beer is excellent with these strawberries, by the way.
Okay, so are we allowed to curse? Because I've been
I'm
really
so
holding back
hungry.
this like past 2 months.
Dude, this is your
Are you
podcast,
gonna, you
man.
gonna yell about that one brewing place?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
no.
fine, sure. Alright, fine. So,
Orlando
Orlando
Brewing.
Brewing.
Are you gonna
There we
use
go.
an F word? Let
I
me
will
take
use
off my
salt.
headphones.
I will still say Orlando Brewing is not the greatest, but I'll get salty right now and say,
They-
fuck them in the bud.
Those poopy
Okay.
heads.
Back to
How
the
dare
history
they,
of the monk.
poppycock.
Let's see,
Yes.
Abbey. You know how we say Abbey Ale. Abbey is an order of the monks, so Catholic, Anglican, and it refers to the monastery and convent. And abbot, who is the authority figure, and that's where you get Abbey. Abbeys emphasize a Cistercian lifestyle, and so it's of self-sufficiency and agriculture. I have no idea what.
And it's all about the people. You know, you gotta support your people.
So being self-sufficient is where brewing beer comes from. They obviously had a good recipe that people wanted to buy. and they followed it through, and here we are. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Um,
also in my research, I won't lie. So of all the styles we've done so far, definitely has the richest history, but I have to feel like it's definitely one of the styles that I feel like it was harder to research almost. Um, there was definitely a little bit more. You go to some websites and read one thing, you go to another, and like Teresa said earlier, there was maybe it was lost in translation or I don't know what it was, but it was hard to really get a really good picture from start to finish, like what these Trappist and Abbey elves have done. Now, granted, like you said earlier, the Trappist elves have to follow these certain rules. Um, Meanwhile, Abbey elves are more, I'd say, they're more the generic phrase. There's definitely secular and just generic breweries that make Abbey ales, but they, by definition, can't be considered Trappist, but they might taste exactly the same.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
I know in my research, one of the things I was reading, I think I mentioned this during the Three Philosophers podcast, was how the monks basically, one of the reasons they brewed this was as something to drink while they fast.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they, like you said, I think that the triples and the quads are more of like festive holidays, but the house beer, which I guess was considered the single, and the double would be more of a day-to-day drinking and much lower percent. And from what I was reading, it was basically they were equating it to a quote-unquote nutritional beverage to nourish monks using quote-unquote again liquid bread, which makes sense. I mean, we all said so far when we're with all one common theme with all these beers has been kind of a yeasty, sourdoughy, bready smell. So, calling it liquid bread and having it be considered some way of getting sustenance isn't too far off.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, I mean, that makes those monks badass in my book. Like,
I like
you're in a
that.
monastery, spending all your day drinking beer, or drinking these beers and getting drunk and making more beers and just being a badass monk. That's cool in my book.
I have to say, when I read 2%, I'm not sure that I would drink a beer that's 2% alcohol. One of the reasons I enjoy drinking beer is the buzz I get from it.
Okay, so I fully agree. So imagine if you're fasting. So you're not eating any food.
Oh,
Yeah.
So beer is going to do it for you. Also, so here's a nice little tidbit. So, okay, so in Lord of the Rings, especially with the hobbits, you see them drinking beer. Like, they're drinking ale and whatnot at the different taverns. So they actually brewed, I forget the name of it, they brewed a special beer for the filming of Lord of the Rings. I think it was just under 2%. So that way, when they would actually, because I think what they tried to do is they tried to bring a fake beer on originally, and it didn't look quite right. So they actually made a very low percent beer just for filming Lord of the Rings because they wanted to look like a real beer. So when they're drinking beer in the movie, it's actually beer brewed just for that movie.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. So I wonder
the more you
if
know.
they kept a bottle of that. Somewhere in the world there's a bottle of Lord of the
I'd
Rings.
hope so. I know a couple of them stole set pieces, like stole some of their, maybe wardrobe or stole a sword, and I know most of them got a tattoo. Everyone but Gimli of the Fellowship got a tattoo.
Man, I don't know if I'd get a tattoo for Lord of the Rings. You probably have a Lord of the Rings tattoo. I could see you having one.
No, I do not. I have a Harry Potter one planned,
What?
but
Oh, man,
Plans?
Rick,
What are you gonna
what?
get?
planned.
Alright.
Okay, so you know how all the chapters have artwork in front of the chapters.
Uh huh.
Book 4 or 5, I forget which. It's Luna Lovegood with the Gryffindor hat. Because Luna is one of my favorite characters
Okay.
in the book, and that just that inter-house camaraderie is a pretty big deal amongst the books, and she's pretty awesome in my book. So if I was going to get a Harry Potter tattoo, that's what I would get in that artwork style.
Right on.
But yes,
That
I would
is
also
very
get a
well
Lord.
thought out.
Yeah. Oh, all my tattoos are generally thought out between several
Hold up.
months to
So
a
you have
year
several
or two.
tattoos. I don't have any tattoos. What other tattoos do you have?
I've got 2 music tattoos, one of which is the festival in Gainesville called The Fest on creatively, and then I have an octopus, a mermaid / siren, and then a T-Rex skull, and I have a Triceratops skull in
Wow.
2 weeks on the way.
Is that after you saw Jurassic World?
No, it's right here, and it is not after Jurassic World.
It actually looks
I
pretty
was getting
good.
nude.
Yeah, no, it's a T-Rex skull. I saw
I like
a
it.
chick at a concert with one in the same exact spot. I said that was awesome. So I did my research. I have a PowerPoint file on my computer of all my tattoo ideas, and I spend forever planning them, finding images, other tattoos. I do my research. I truly do. I like my tattoos, and I want good ones. So I make it worth it.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been wanting to get the water molecule somewhere on my. I don't know.
H2O.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It was like the 2 oxygens and a. I mean, other way around. 2
Two
hydrogens
oxygens and a hydrogen.
like that's not oxygen.
O2H.
I think that'd be cool. I mean, I'd be into that, but I don't know if Laura would go for it. I don't know. She's got this thing with
Luckily, I met my
tattoos.
fiance after I had a bunch of tattoos.
Nice.
She still doesn't love them, but every time I get one, like I go to plan one, she's like, "Oh, not another one." Then I just, I go forward with it, and then next thing I know, we're out somewhere, and she's like, I'll hear her bragging. She's like, "Oh man, you gotta see my fiance's tattoos," and she'll like drag someone over to look at my tattoos, and I'm like, "All right, so you clearly
Nice.
like them." And
You
the
like that.
cycle goes
Choosing
on and on.
beards.
Bad boy
Yeah.
nerd. That's what she loves about you.
I guess so. I'm kind of a walking stereotype.
When are you getting married again?
November 7th.
November 7th.
Are we gonna podcast on that day?
I'm gonna put a GoPro on my head and live stream it,
Nice.
See, this guy knows what the deal is.
Come on, Miguel, step it up.
Shut up. Whatever.
No.
So this has been 50% about not beer, and I'm okay with it.
You know what? Randall and I weren't even talking because the Infinite Rant is about a year old. It turned a year old January or June 30th,
Yeah, I know
been
that.
Really?
and
Yeah,
I didn't,
exactly.
and I hadn't. Randall and I didn't interact at all. So I got married last March. Yeah, March 7th of
Damn.
last year, and I don't remember interacting with Randall at all until I think Randall came on board maybe episode 5, so it was already into July, August, and ever since then I haven't been able to get rid of him. It's just like this, like
Well, dude,
I
you
don't
can
know.
never get rid of the creepy triangle.
That's right.
For life.
speaking of fungi.
Triangle.
Is it weird? Like when I go to the gym, I get paranoid. I don't wear shower shoes, and I don't have that special powder to throw on my shoes, so I just kind of been risking it. You think I'm
Dude,
in
just-
for a rude awakening
No,
sometime?
roll a condom over each foot, man. You're good.
When I get into the shower, I just pee on my feet. I think that's the solution there. I don't know if that's working or not. But...
It'll
Very
work, I
nice.
guess. You can also
I
just
haven't
shower
gotten
at
anything.
home,
Well, no, I work out during lunch because I don't know.
Gotcha.
I have to drive about 35 minutes to work. When I get there, I don't want to drive all the way back home.
No,
And
I
I've
don't blame
done-
you.
Anyways, that's okay. That's besides the point. So we were talking about abbeys. So abbeys is actually an order of monks, and that was pretty cool. And just like you said, so that's why that word is thrown around. You got abbey elves, you got Trappists, and you also well, I guess those are the only 2 terms, but essentially is the same form of beer that's being done. It's just one is licensed as the official one.
Yeah.
and the
Well,
other
I look at it like this. It's like having sparkling wine versus champagne. One is very specific. The other is a little bit more open to
Exactly.
interpretation.
Yeah.
Now,
So, has anyone here had any American Abbey ales? I mean, I know you mentioned, I mentioned the Cigar City one earlier, but have you guys had any ones through American breweries?
I guess Omalog. That's the one
Yeah.
the quadruple
okay.
that we had.
Yeah.
Besides
Minus
that,
that
that's
one.
the only
Besides
one I
that
had.
Oh.
I've
My
always
friend
seen
was
these beers.
mentioning that one to me.
I've always seen these in the aisle, and especially this guy, this Saint Bernardus on the
Yeah.
bottle. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't like how you're looking at me. So
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not.
I will say this. So yeah, Three Philosophers is good, Teresa. I highly recommend it. It's like $8 for a 750, and you can find it almost everywhere. Another one for both of you and Russell, if he wants to participate. North Coast Brewery puts one out called Brother Thelonious in 4-packs. And I think I
Yeah,
saw,
I've seen it. Okay.
I think
Yeah,
I saw
I've had that.
750s. I really liked it. I would say give it a shot. It's, I would say, if you're gonna compare that to ABT 12,
Yeah.
You know, it might not hold up, but all in all, for like $10 for a 4-pack, it's a really, really solid quadruple. Or
What was
Abbey Ale.
that
I think
first
it's
one you mentioned?
3 Philosophers from
Oh, right.
Omegon. So that, and then Brother Thelonious. It's got like a cool little, I don't know, cool black dude with sunglasses looking at his goblet. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen that one, and it has a decent label. I just never got it
Well, it's
for
for
whatever.
somebody. It's for somebody famous, I thought.
Yeah, that could be it.
It was.
Let's see. Well, maybe I don't know.
I'm
I don't
gonna
know anything
research
about
it.
I saw that I think it's Sierra Nevada had a. Well, I was looking for it, but I didn't find it.
Yeah,
What
they're
is it?
supposed
It's
to have
called like
Abbey.
Oliva or something. Was their Abbey style ale?
Hmm.
But I
Mhm.
didn't get to. Once I found all the Belgians and Abbeys and Trappist ales, I was like, oh, so
It's for
many.
Thelonious Monk, who is an American jazz pianist and composer. Boom.
That makes sense. Why the label looks like that then.
Okay.
Yeah. So, damn, I'll have to look for that Sierra Nevada, because Sierra Nevada, you know, everyone always thinks, oh, pale ale, and people
Yeah.
are starting to think about that
Right.
Torpedo IPA, but they do some really good stuff on top of it. Like, have you guys had Bigfoot, their barley wine?
So I actually.
Was it Bigfoot? Hmm.
It's
No, I saw that
It's a-
bottle.
yeah, it's a damn good barley wine, and apparently, it's one of those barley wines that ages really good, like to the point where like 10 years is still really good on it.
Wow.
Like 10 plus years. Like it's one of those types of beers. And they just started doing an imperial stout called Narwhal, and that's pretty good too.
Oh, I've seen that. I wanted to buy it for my friend.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I had a barrel aged version of it that was pretty good too.
When I was
Highly
in
recommended.
When I was in California, this was like 2007, I guess.
When
Way before I was drinking.
California.
It was way before I was drinking good beer, but my cousin took me to the Sierra Nevada brewery, and so we got to have dinner, and they did the whole, there was probably 12 or 13 beers. And even
Nice.
then, I was like, this is pretty good. I think there was like 3 that I wasn't a huge fan of, and they were probably a little dark for me at the time, but
Honestly,
it was
one
pretty
of them
good.
was probably Bigfoot. Bigfoot they've been doing for a very long time, and if you're not into beer, Bigfoot is going to be very off-putting. I mean, it's a big hoppy barley wine. It's not beer. I mean, when most people think beer, if you're not into craft beer, when you think beer, you think Bud Light, maybe Budweiser, maybe Guinness, but you don't
that's
think
good
of
beer.
these big ones that are just. It's almost not even beer to some people, because it's so
But-
different.
So it looks like their Abbey. It's a quad, and it's called Ovila. I mixed those letters up. Ovila.
Huh, I'll have to look out for it.
It looks
Yeah, I
like
don't
they
think
have a
I've
whole
ever seen that.
series.
I'll have to look out. Yeah.
Oh, you websites and asking for my age.
Yeah, that's one thing when I'm doing beer research. You run into that thing. It's almost like it's like, did I go to a porn site? It's like it's asking me for my age. I'm like, yes, I'm old enough to look at this.
Funny.
Oh, good stuff.
Dude, that's funny. I had more history on this, but I love the history of Abbey Ales and how it refers back to the abbots, and then
Yeah, I mean,
the early-
it's like what 1500s. Like it's basically or even the Middle Ages. I mean, this stuff
Mhm.
goes back.
Yeah, for this beer, Saint Bernardus, I have the earliest, I guess, event in history, whatever, was in 1831. Saint Sixtus is the West Verlitarian, was founded, and that's the first order monk, and that's what you call the Westy 12. So that's where it originated. Whenever
Cool.
it became a thing. So that's 18. And then Saint Sixtus is also the same strain that they continue to use in Trappist licensed beers.
Very cool. Whew, man, this is. So I was definitely saying the alcohol was hidden, and I wasn't kidding. I'm only halfway through this 11%er, and I've slowed down. This thing is. Whew, it's kicking my
What
butt.
do you
good.
What do you think about this one compared to the other one you're drinking?
The 8, I like the 10 more than the 8 because I'm a fan of big, bold, strong beers. The 8 was very good. The 10 is just, I don't know, it's just bigger. It's just more of what the 8 was. And looking back on it, I kind of wish I poured them side by side and could kind of go back and
Kind of go back and forth.
because it's kind of after drinking the whole 8 and now I'm halfway through my 10, having a hard, it's all kind of molded into one long beer for me, so it's kind of hard for me to distinguish which is which. I mean, there's a lot more dark fruit. It's a lot more like raisins on the back of my tongue when I'm done with the drink. It's
Yeah.
way more of the fruit. But I don't know. It's there.
I'm getting a lot of citrus off of this compared to Chimay Blue. That other one was a lot smoother than this one has. It's not bad. It's like
Wait, which one are you on now?
level. I'm on that same Rochefort 10.
Yeah, that's also true. It would be kind of neat to have the Chimay Blue versus the 10 of the Rochefort and kind of, again, do that side by side where you can take a sip of each and kind of really have them real fresh in your mind.
I'm all trying to look this up, but I don't know how to spell Rochefort.
It's tough to do that. I mean, I had Chimay Blue literally a few days ago, and I mean, I'm trying to taste this and think about that one, but again, I'm noobish with these Belgians, so it's tough to really have those fine lines in my head, but they're comparable, definitely.
Yeah, it had a lot of cherry at the beginning, and again, like there's some kind of citrus or something lighter at the finish.
Yes, I had cherry too, but it's dying down as it warms up.
Yeah.
Are you finding that it's you get ripe dark fruits and smoked plum with a tad of alcohol hitting the nose?
Well, we definitely were talking about a lot of dark fruit and raisins, so that kind of fits right what you said.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say there's more alcohol in the nose than there is on the taste.
I love getting on Beer Advocate and seeing these guys that just do these like huge reviews, like someone's like reading this. Another is the tiny islands of glutinous foam that form on the surface of one's drink and allow the drinker some dreamy cloud gazing to be done.
Here, I'm going to show you. There it is. Boom. There's the island.
There's your fucking island.
There's my island.
Oh.
I noticed that with the 8 too.
I haven't gotten to the island yet. I still got just a little. Sorry for the.
That's too funny. It's funny you said that, Miguel, because I noticed it with the 8 how as I sat there, basically it was forming an island in the middle, and I'm not used to beers doing that, and the 10 did the same exact thing.
Yeah, there's actually a couple on here. No, I guess I'm looking at this one. Mr. I wish I could. This is Safoto. He says many people will tell you that Westy 12 and St. Bernardus 12 are the best. I beg to differ. I would rate Rochefort 10 higher. The only beer like as much as this one is Straff Heinrich Quadruple, whichever one you call it. But I haven't seen that one, Straff Hendrick, but of course that could be. I mean, some of these you get into the names and stuff like that. It's really hard to find, but.
Yeah. You also have to be familiar with the style, Someone who knows IPAs knows all the IPAs, and Belgians are a thing, and I've met people that are super into them, and that's all they drink, and it's like speaking a different language because a lot of these are imported, so like this Trappist Roquefort and Chimay Blue, people just half the time can't even pronounce them right. Whereas some people, you might avoid the bottle because it's almost too plain. You can't really pronounce it. You look at it and go,
yeah,
okay,
the labeling on there is definitely different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So we talked a little bit about the yeast strains and how with Trappist, ideally Trappist licensed beers are supposed to all be using the same yeast strain. From what I read. Now you got the other ones that like Abbey ales and stuff like that could be using something different. I don't know. Now,
on that point, I read. It happened to be, didn't mean for it, but like the Chimay, what I was reading is Brother Theodore. He was.
What is attacking you? What is that?
My dog. She's like, hey, I see you're on
what the
podcast.
heck is it? I thought your husband was dressed up like a scarecrow or something, trying to scare you. And then
she's like, I need attention. But yeah, so Brother Theodore of the Chimay Brewery or Abbey, whatever, he helped the Roquefort one start up, and he actually handpicked the yeast strains. But there was something about them, and now my memory eludes me, but there was something about them that wasn't working quite right, so they adjusted a little bit. once they kind of got their bearings under them and were started off. But yeah, so they were sharing all the same stuff.
Cool, cool, yeah. Yeast strain, I guess where you research more and as we get more into these spots, because I mean, okay, so when we started Beer Me 3 episode 1, I was very an amateur, very much, and just looking into beers and stuff like that. And I remember doing that first pod and Rick just going to town on all these beers and stuff like that. I was like, man, I'm just gonna act like I know what he's talking about right now. But every time we do a different category or type of beer, I'm starting to be able to differentiate now between what is what and stuff like that. But one thing I got into this one that helps with yeast strain and yeast health is calcium. And the reason I went on this little tangent about calcium, and this is like Miguel's little science corner, whatever you want to call it,
Should do
because
that.
because the fact that they're using the
in a podcast.
Wesley 12 and St. Bernardus 12. They're using basically the same recipe, but they differ in. Let's see, I had it right here. But they in the blend, but also they differ in the yeast. Oh, here we go. Water, the yeast strain, and there's a human factor that's involved in there in terms of like, I guess based on judgment and experience and stuff like that, because people mix things differently. So that led me on this tangent about calcium, and I mentioned calcium before because in water with hardness, if water is harder, it contains a higher content of magnesium and calcium. So I wanted to see calcium's factor and how it plays with, I guess, just brewing in general. So calcium ions lowers the pH, and it has different effects during the brewing process. So I'm just going to mention 3 of them here. So number 1, you have your enzyme optimization and production. So beta amylase. I don't know if you've ran into these enzymes, Rick, whenever you're home brewing or anything like that.
Oh, dude, I mean, I can't call myself a homebrewer. I've done it like 5 times. But
you can call yourself a homebrewer because that's 5 times more than I have.
There's a friend of mine named Zach in Gainesville. He not only does he homebrew, his master's thesis is all about this kind of stuff. It's all about,
Yeah, nice.
The alpha carbons. I don't know. It's the stuff he does with hop and stuff. He understands all the science of brewing to the point that, I mean, he puts me to shame. He makes me look like somebody who just slams natty ice on the weekend. I mean, he knows his beer so flippin' well, it's disgusting.
Well, as we get
Zach,
deeper
you
into
happen to listen to this one day, you rock. But the enzymes and all that kind of stuff it's beyond me at this point.
Well, it's interesting, and fan. Like I said, I don't know anything about this, and I've yet to homebrew anything. But as we do these podcasts, and I start learning more, I start seeing like where all these factors kind of come into play. So we're talking about enzyme optimization and production. So beta amylase, it improves with lower pH, and so when more calcium is present, the pH is lower. So lower pH increases production of maltose from amylose, and that makes the wort more fermentable. So that's how the pH is affected there. And then so that's beta amylase, and then you go into, like you're saying, alpha amylase, which is another enzyme because ACEs indicate enzymes, which is your proteins, and calcium provides
catalyzed reactions, good sir.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. There you go.
Your game ago.
Calcium, I'm trying, man. Okay. So your alpha amylase, you got calcium that provides enzyme protection by the inhibition of heat. So protein precipitation during mashing and boiling is. Wait, I had this whole thing, but I'm like skipping around on my notes now. So you increase calcium, you lower pH, which increases proteolysis, which decreases the amount of proteins there, but also increases what they call FANS. Now, FANS is your free amino acid nitrogen, which is utilized by your yeast, so it makes a healthier yeast and a more vigor yeast, if you want to say that. So those are some of the things that I had that kind of played into that part. Calcium, this whole time, up till now anyways, I thought like the harder your water or the more calcium present, basically the worse your beer was going to taste. And that's not necessarily the case. It's dependent on how good of a chemist you are. That's what I ultimately think.
Yeah, I mean, and that shows you how, I mean, there's reasons certain parts of the country and or world that produce beer as good as they produce, and that's because their water is as good as it is. The right amount of minerals and the right quantity and the right ratio, and just boom, you get this perfect beer.
Yeah.
Would a different kind of, a harder or softer water be better for one style of beer versus another, or is that kind of a moot point?
I think, in my opinion, so soft water is considered, I think, 10 ppm, and hard water is considered 240, and that's in terms of calcium. I guess it goes back into what type of yeast strain you're using and also the other ingredients that are involved. I don't know enough about the boiling and mashing part of brewing, but I think that's the critical step that things like this would definitely affect it more or less.
Everything comes down to times and temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
With both those steps.
I had a note here that says, brewing beer has the challenge of removing unwanted... I feel like I do this voice when I read stuff. Is that apparent to everybody? Anyways.
It's a very dramatic, beautiful...
Brewing beer has the challenge of removing unwanted ions and adding required levels of desirable ions. So, just like you said, I think harder water is going to be better for certain types of beers as opposed to the other one. Now, calcium is said to be the most important due to its acidifying effect on the wort. What is the wort, Rick? Maybe you can help me out.
The bumps on the bottom of my feet, man. You have a lot of the wort. So you have your mash. No, you have your mash, and that is basically your beer tea. You take all these grains, you grind them up, so you make a greater surface area. You put them in a hot water at just the right temperature, and you steep them for anywhere to maybe an hour and above. You drain them. You run some water through them again to get as much out of it as you can, all the sugars and enzymes. That is your wort, that liquid which has all your sugars, all your fermentables, all your enzymes, and you take that and then you boil it to condense it down and to help break everything up.
Okay.
That is my best explanation of it. I could be, the subtleties of it could be wrong, but the generalities are correct.
That helps me, I guess, realize, because there's certain terminology in here, and I read it, and I'm just like, I don't know what part of the brewing process this comes into play.
Trust me, I didn't know until I started doing it a couple times, and those 5 brews I did were within, 9 months of each other, so I brewed a bunch quickly to kind of get the feel of it, and there's wort, mash in, mash out, there's the sparge, there's the lautering, there's all this terminology that's completely brand new.
And okay, so with the wort, that's what I was saying. Calcium is said to have the most important effect, or is supposed to be the most important because of acidifying effect on the wort due to phosphate found in the wort, which is derived from the malt. And then I had this whole so you got your calcium, and when you add it to hydrogen phosphate, it does a single replacement. So you got your calcium phosphate, and then you got the release of 2 hydrogens, which that affects your acidity of your I guess your water or your wort. It depends on the process. So the large amounts of phosphates that are derived from malt create a buffering effect. So basically, the greedy little bastards that steal the hydrogen ions and keep the pH higher than desired. That's why with the addition of calcium, it helps lower the pH, and it makes it a more preferable pH when brewing. And that's my science corner. Calcium, right? No.
The more you know. Hey-o. Try that on your kid in a couple years. I'm sure they will still love it.
Yeah, I feel like Galileo's gonna know.
On your shirt?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, hang on. You got a tattoo of a T-Rex.
It says carnivore. I got it at Disney, and yes, I have a T-Rex on my arm, and I'm getting a Triceratops skull tattoo. Long story short, # I like dinosaurs. I won't lie. for most of my life, like up until I was like
Can you
18.
get that as a tattoo?
I could, but I already got the
Hashtag
T-Rex
no, like,
tattoo,
just
so I
right
don't
here.
need it. But I
Just get-
was gonna be a paleontologist up until I was like 18 or 19. I mean, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then I learned how many jobs there are in that field.
Isn't that
And-
always the case though? Right.
Basically, yeah. But I promptly changed it.
And even now though, because you went similar to me, biology, environmental science, whatever you want to call it. Still, it's like, man, I should have, I don't know, been an
Well, I mean,
engineer.
I guess. I mean, I did the biotech molecular genetics route,
There
and
you
then
go.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm a little fish in a big pond. There's way better people than me, and I said, food science looks kind of good. And now, here I am,
Food.
good old
Food
food.
I like food.
Who doesn't like food? Everybody needs food. That's
Yeah.
cool. Hey, what did you think of Jurassic World?
It was a good popcorn flick. I won't lie, I did genuinely enjoy it.
You're that
However,
guy.
I will say, so I watched Jurassic World, and the next day I watched Jurassic Park. Nothing will beat Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park
Right?
has suspense. It's borderline horror at times, and the writing. What got me is the script is good. Jurassic World, the thing that killed me more than anything else. I love the movie. The script had some horrible cheesy moments. The cheese was.
Yeah.
God, I wish I brought nachos, because the cheese would just flow out from the screen and hit my plate. It was so flippin' cheesy sometimes. I will say, though, it had some very genuinely scary moments, but the best moment of it, what made it more worth it than anything else, was the moments that were just pure velociraptors running in a forest, and it was just like a camera panning around them as you see apex predators running at 60 miles per hour, how you would expect to see a true animal run. Like, it just biologically and mechanistically, it looked proper, and the way they did it looked very fluid.
Nice.
So there's moments of when Chris Pratt's on a freaking motorcycle, and all the raptors are in front of him running through the woods, and most of the shots were just the raptors. Those moments were really flipping killer. And then, the big fight at the end was pretty cool. But
Yeah. That was
that chick worker way too long. Just saying.
that chick. What?
There's a scene in the movie where Chris Pratt and the main girl they're in the woods. They're trying to track these kids down, and he even says like, "Hey, like, you're wearing high heels. That's kind of silly." And then she wears the high heels the rest of the freaking movie, running in the woods, running in the mud.
Teresa might argue with you.
So there was a whole article about that, and like they were talking about why, some people were really angry that she was in high heels, and like, this is so sexist. First of all, let me say I haven't seen the movie, but I read stuff on the internet. But there was a lot of people that were mad. They were like, this is so impractical. She's in high heels. Why would they do that? It's sexist. How far back have we gone? But there was another article defending it, saying, well, she had a mission, and it was like, I don't have time to change into my tennis shoes. I'm just going to do what I need to do. So,
True, but she could have just broken the heels.
or taking them all. I don't know.
Well,
I haven't seen the movie. I don't know what the urgency of the
Okay,
situation
so I've
was.
seen people like Mariah Carey, and those people never take their heels off. The only thing that bugs me is there's a huge difference between walking on concrete and like indoor floors as part of civilization, and running around in the woods and along riverbanks. That's what got me. Was like, you're running outside in high heels. Those are definitely going to be a detriment.
I don't know. Maybe
But,
she's really good
I
in
mean,
heels.
I don't.
I mean, hey, maybe that's
I
the
don't love
Indominus
walking my dog
Rex's
in heels, and
weakness.
it's like-
Boom.
Yeah.
When you're only half raptor, having high heels is your weakness. There you go.
The best part of the movie
It's just
was
funny
that.
that you mentioned it, because I thought like it would have been a non-issue and everything going on, but people had really strong feelings about it either way. They're like,
Yeah, and also,
wear your
like-
high heels. They're like,
Yeah.
this dumb.
Okay, so if people can't tell from this podcast, I kind of like dinosaurs. So needless to say,
Rick likes dinosaurs. That's what we
needless
should
to
name
say,
it.
Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time. A recent holiday, my fiance bought me the Blu-ray for a gift, and it was like one of the better gifts I've gotten in the past few years, because it meant a lot. It was a really cool gift. And the first movie I saw with my fiance in theaters was when they re-released Jurassic Park in the theaters as Blu-ray.
Mhm.
or high def, I guess, whatevs. So I do hold dinosaurs to a high standard. And I will say the first Jurassic Park to this day is still really good. The suspense is there. The CG looks really good because there's just enough practical effects that the CG balances it really well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And if you watch that first movie, there's not really any cheesy dialogue, and the little bit of cheesy dialogue all comes from Jeff Goldblum as the great Ian Malcolm, the chaotician. And it fits his character because it's supposed to, because it does in the books, and it works freaking just perfectly. This Jurassic World, the cheesiness just...
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, all right, you're a 12-year-old kid. If you just watch a velociraptor kill somebody in front of you, and as you're getting away you shock it with some kind of probe, would you say some kind of corny, like Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque, Hot Fuzz-esque kind of quote? No, you'd be traumatized because you just watch a raptor kill somebody in front of you. It's the little things like that.
I see your point. How old were you
Clearly
when you saw the first movie?
How
old are you now?
I'm 28. So I don't know how old I was. I will tell you when I saw the first movie. It was when the first time they showed it on cable TV. And I know that's when it was because my parents took a good old VHS tape and recorded it live. So growing up, I watched Jurassic Park fast-forwarding through commercials.
Oh, wow.
That's
I remember
amazing.
seeing it in theaters when I was my dad took me, I think it was the age of 8. I want to say
that sounds about right. Yeah, like maybe 4th or 3rd grade or something,
and
right?
I was gonna say.
I was
think
really
it was
into
about 9 or
dinosaurs. Like,
10.
I was the kid that always checked out at the library the VHS tape with Fred Savage and the dinosaurs. Remember that one with the play figures and all
dude,
that?
with the police song at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so FYI, that whole thing is on YouTube. I watched it last week.
Yeah, dude, I showed my nephew because
claymation
Because
too,
Red loves
right?
dinosaurs. That's
He's
why
into
he
dinosaurs.
watched it last week.
and so I showed him, and he was just like, "Oh, awesome, Uncle Miguel, blah blah." I was just like, "Yeah," and then I found myself watching it too. I was just like, "Oh yeah, I remember this part."
But I won't lie. Like, having rewatched it last week, and I can't believe this derailed this hardcore on dinosaurs thanks to my T-shirt and tattoo. However, I will defend this to my grave. It's a weird-ass movie. How it just ends with the chalkboard, and they're just like wiping it clean as the claymation T-Rex is about to eat you. And then the movie just ends. Like,
Yeah.
what was the
I love
story
it.
of that movie? I don't even know what it was. Like,
No.
I was 100% sober, and I felt high as a kite watching it because it was the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it keeps it's one of those movies, one of the few movies that I will go the whole movie without watching or getting on my phone or anything. I'm just like, I love everything that's happening right now.
Okay, we're still
Just
talking about the Fred Savage one, right? Not Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
just,
yeah. Fred Savage
just
is
making
not.
sure. Just making
Well,
sure.
Jurassic Park 1, of course I didn't have a cell phone, but there was a few times in Jurassic where I was like, okay, come on.
Yeah, I'll say Jurassic World started kind of slow, but still, extremely good movie. And I
Dude.
won't lie. So, okay, Jurassic Park is one of the best movies. I mean, if you watch it today, the CG still holds up because of how they balanced it. Jurassic,
Yeah, it's not
you
that
know,
horrible.
it's not. The Lost World is. I like The Lost World except for the 3rd act. I read the books. I love them. T-Rex never goes to San Diego and wrecks shit. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. That was a completely unnecessary scene in that movie and just drug on. But not a bad movie. Jurassic Park 3 is basically me with diarrhea or me having an abortion. It was a horrible movie. If any listeners like it, then you should just go drink Orlando Brewing beer because you have no taste.
Let's note the
Just saying.
time.
So
Rick
I
said
think
this,
in my book, Jurassic
something.
World is the second best of all the movies. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot. It
Yeah.
was good.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
I
Jurassic
have
World
goals
was
for this weekend now to go watch that.
the better sequel. I
Okay,
watched
so-
it in 3D on a D-box seat, and so it made the experience even better. And I'm not gonna lie, the first couple of scenes, yeah, it was slow, but when the original doors are opening up, and then you got the theme song,
hmm
I was like, I got teary-eyed. I'm not gonna lie, because it took me back to when I watched the first movie. I was like, damn it. And
Yeah.
Laura's like, are you crying right now? It's like,
Oh,
whatever.
I'm sure if I wake Colleen up and bring her out here, she would tell you that I basically did the same thing. Like, I was sitting there with the biggest shit-eating grin on my face from start to finish of Jurassic World because I was just as happy as basically this guy right here in a dinosaur movie because it's me.
Nice.
Can't
Yeah, so
deny
it was
it.
a good one.
Okay. Yep. I like beer, bitches, and dinosaurs. There it is.
Dinosaurs, man. That Fred Savage movie. Do you know, Teresa? Did you
I
ever
can't
see that one
believe
Terrible
with Fred
name for a
Savage?
podcast.
Teresa, do you remember that
No,
movie?
I don't.
Man,
Was it? No, that
I
was
don't.
like one of those
I
like.
feel like I'd have to see it before I remembered it. I'm a visual.
well, I'll
person,
tweet
not
out the
a-
link on the YouTube to show you, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I saw this, because I feel like everybody has seen that at some point.
Yeah, but I don't think it was never in theaters. It's one of those movies that like
No,
everyone saw on
yeah.
VHS at one point.
Well, I remember I only checked it out from the library, and I was that kid that would, as soon as we went to the library, I ran back there to the corner where they keep all the videos and stuff, and was just like, do you have, I forget the name of it, I gotta go find it, and
Yeah,
it's like,
wasn't
do
it
you have
called,
blah,
like-
blah, blah?
Oh, I just saw it. Dinosaurs, a fun-filled trip back in time. Boom.
There you go. Now, if Rick had Twitter, he could tweet that out to us, but he chooses to.
Yes, to our probably like one listener at this point, Miguel has been bugging the shit on me to get Twitter,
Well,
and I will not.
today-
because I'm old.
Get on the
Today was a
Twitters.
great example because
I don't tweet,
Teresa
I
was
don't
like,
tweet.
"What kind of beer is Rick doing?" So, I get a tweet from Teresa, and then I text Rick, and then Rick texts me back, and then I have to tweet Teresa. So that was the
You-
process I was doing.
You texted me today?
He texted me. It's that number 10 setting in. That's all that is.
Oh, trust me, that number 10
Yeah,
set in
no,
like
I-
20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm a little more than halfway through mine, and I was like, oh.
Okay, so
Yeah.
is it hitting you as hard as it's hitting me because I'm solid?
Yeah.
If you can't
Y'all are gonna
tell,
make-
if one listener can't tell, we've talked about dinosaurs for the past 30 minutes.
Y'all are gonna make some babies tonight. That's all that is.
FYI, if every podcast ended with us talking about dinosaurs for 30 minutes, I'd be totally cool with that. So,
Maybe-
So
FYI,
we
did you hear
we
they
need Miguel's science corner, and then like a closing, like little tidbit on dinosaurs is what I'm hearing.
Dino Dash or Dino.
Whoa, dude! I came up with all those sexy like podcast names for the beers. I'll find a good dino one. So
That sounds
was this sitting with a snifter again? I don't know.
This one I liked.
Well, because sitting with a snifter was the idea. We sit with the same beer. We've been diving into the styles.
Yeah, we can jump into that.
Ooh.
You know what? Let's go ahead and end this podcast here, and then we'll talk about our next style. This has been a great rundown on Abbey Ales, dinosaurs, and I think we talked about fruit
And
bats.
live birth. Your
Did we
baby.
get it?
Yeah,
Little baby
birthing
Davis.
centers.
And midwife, and
Baby Dave.
all that stuff, man, dude. I'm gonna have a baby next week. That's
Dude.
Yeah.
insane.
Miguel, how are you gonna feel after you
Whoa.
pop that out of you?
Oh man, not me. You know, the biggest scrutiny I've gotten out of all of this is people are very surprised that I'm taking 3 weeks off from work. They're like, you don't need 3 weeks. But I was like, I need to help my wife around. I thought that was
That's
the
because
thing.
we're in
But,
America and we have the shittiest policy about that. Watch John Oliver.
but it's just
Yes,
the looks I
that
get
was
from
a
people.
Great skit.
The looks I get from people, because
Awesome.
I have a shitload of sick time built up at work, and I'm like, I don't get sick. Knock on wood. I just don't get sick. I don't know. My mom let me play in dirt a lot as a kid, so I built up a lot of antibodies. Anyways, so I have almost 3 months of sick pay, whatever,
Holy shit.
there, and I'm like, I'm just using 3 weeks of this. And it's just the looks on people's face when I tell them I'm taking that much time off. But anyways, so yeah,
Mostly jelly.
Well, I applaud you, sir.
definitely by the next time of this podcast, yeah, because we do this bi-weekly, so in 2 weeks I'll definitely have a kid here. There'll be a baby sitting behind me, and we will pod. The pod will continue.
Cool pod. You just verbed it. You just verbed it, man.
That's how hardcore about podcasting we are.
Dude, I'll
anyway,
send you a dinosaur onesie, I swear.
Nice. I'm down, man.
Yeah.
By the way, I need to get y'all's addresses. I'm doing this thing where I send people postcards. I don't know. It's just a phase I'm going
I
through.
love sending real mail.
Can I have a dinosaur postcard?
There's actually one in there. I'm gonna save it for you. Anyways,
Awesome sauce.
okay. Any last words, Rick, for closing out what we're calling Return of the Abbey L, which we should kind of call it Dinosaur Talk, but I don't know.
Dino Abbey? I don't know.
I was
Hashtag
trying to stay
something.
Work on that.
I wanted to stay consistent with our Star Wars labeling, because last Last time it was Return of the Hot Pyre, so this one would be
Star Wars.
wait.
So what? We're gonna go backwards. So the dinosaurs strike back.
Yeah.
There we go.
No,
the
no, no.
Dinosaurs strike back.
Episode 6. Because last
but
one was the
We started
Empire.
with Return though. I thought.
The Hot Pyre Strikes Back. So this one would be Return.
I mean, but it can
of
just be any Star Wars reference, right?
Yeah, but
Return
It's
of
gotta
the
be something
Abbey.
with like monks and abbeys and
okay, fine.
Jedis.
How about Abbey Ales, a dinosaur hope? I don't know. I'm stretching at this point. I'm tired. I'm drunk and
You're
tired.
you're not tired. It's just, you drank like some really strong beers this round, so that's all that is.
It's also 11:30 here. I'm done.
Oh yeah.
Hooray, hurrah, hurrah! Beer and dinosaurs. That's my ending.
And dinosaurs. Awesome, awesome. How about you, Teresa? You were definitely less shy this time around, and we're definitely enjoying your company.
I
what
felt Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's go.
Yeah, I felt more comfortable. Drinking
Was
the
it the
stronger
beers?
beer helped a little.
The beer-
I was more
yeah, the
prepared.
stronger beers. So I recommend a stronger beer each time.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened
and this
to
beer's
random.
kind of more towards my palate, you know.
Yeah.
The IPAs,
Okay.
not really my jam. So I really enjoyed this one, and I felt like I could talk
I
about
was-
it more.
I was there at one point. You'll slowly build up to them again.
Apparently, yeah, in 2 months, according to Miguel.
It did for me. I don't know, because at the beginning of the podcast I was like, I can't stand IPAs and IPAs, and for whatever reason I find myself trying a bunch of them. I tried a Hebrew one last week, and then I also Hopnosh, which we talked about, but
Hopnosh is good.
I did a little blog piece on it and took some pictures of the cans because I appreciate the art, and it's one thing I can do. So that's emptyrant.com. Go check out that blog post. All right, guys. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Cheers.